I started with 2 sheets of MDF. The top is solid and the bottom piece has braces where it will attach to the cabinet and along the perimeter to give it a thicker look. I routed and then sanded all the edges. Start by painting a base coat on the wood. This will help tremendously if you have any thin spots when pouring. Any type of paint will work, just make sure it's smooth and dry. I mixed up the resin and then poured into various plastic containers for each color. I added white, gray, gold, and black pigments, 1 to each container. I used a combination of powder pigments, cream-based, and spray paint. I poured the white, gray, and gold into 1 container for a dirty pour technique, and then the other half of my mixture was all black. Be sure to mix thoroughly and check the opaqueness of each batch. If you need to add more pigment, now is the time to do so. Now I'm going to gently stir the dirty pour bucket. I wanted this to be a bright gold marbled vein running throughout the countertop. Plan out your design ahead of time so you know exactly where you want to pour. I realized at this moment that the countertop was too wide for me to reach across, and the vein came out thinner than I wanted. I'm going to use the remainder of the resin and pour it alongside this vein so that it creates a thicker, more fluid look. You can layer colors and dimension to give it a more realistic stone look. After a few minutes, this resin will begin to self-level. I'm going to clean up all my supplies here, and then I'm going to start pouring the black in all of the negative space. When pouring the black, you only need a thin covering since there's a base coat of paint. This is a 4 by 8 foot countertop, and I used 1.25 gallons of resin total for this top coat. I'm going to take a roller and slowly work it over the surface, pushing the black along the whole edges to make sure they're covered, and then pushing the black resin up to the vein just to where it touches. Once they touch, it's going to even out and level. Make sure you cover all the areas and you don't have any bare spots. Once I was done rolling the black out over the whole surface, I ended up having a little bit of the white left, and I did 1 more vein of color on the left side. Look at the counter from different angles to make sure that there are no spots hidden that are thin or that have a gap. So now you're going to see after I've rolled out the whole black countertop and everything is covered. Now I'm going to take a toothpick and get out any little lint or hairs that I can see. Go slowly and check the surface multiple different angles because they'll be hidden. After I'm sure I got all the hair and lint out, I'm going to take a heat gun and pop the bubbles. Go over the surface a couple times to make sure you get them all. You only have about a 30-minute window from the time you mix the epoxy until it becomes so thick that you can't pop the bubbles and they get very difficult to remove. So you have to work quickly. Now that I'm done popping the bubbles, I let the counter cure for 24 hours. This is the result after the first coat cured for 24 hours. It's very pretty, has lots of dimension. If there are any little hairs or lint, things like that, you can sand those out now before we do the clear top coat. After looking at it, it came out really nice, but I wanted to add a little bit more of a gold pop to it, so I decided to use some gold leaf. Gold leaf is very easy to use. You take the glue and you draw the adhesive wherever you want on the countertop, let it dry for about 30 minutes, and then you take the leaf and it will stick only to where you've drawn that adhesive. So you can see the thin clear line that I've drawn of the adhesive. It's dried, and now I'm just applying the gold leaf. Gently brush it off with a sponge or a paintbrush and make sure that all the excess is gone. After you do this, you let it completely dry, and then we're going to pour a clear coat of epoxy over the entire countertop. This is going to seal in that gold leaf. It's going to protect it from any scratches and damage and just give it a nice shiny look. Now we're going to see the final result after I've done the clear top coat and everything's dried. Came out beautiful, exactly what I wanted. gets lots of compliments from people that stop by to check it out. I'm going to post more videos of the process of building the actual countertop base, different techniques for pouring the top, so you can just click back and see those.